Leave your comments on the Ask Reddit sub, and I'll read your answers on the next episode of LWIAR. What is the most inoffensive thing you've seen someone get offended by? One time someone got offended when I put on my seatbelt. Thought I was commenting on her ability to drive. How dare you want to survive should someone else drive into you irrespective of her driving ability? Even if I trust your driving, I don't trust the other drivers. Quote. How dare you comply the law? Edit. MKAY just to establish. I'm aware that not all places require a seatbelt now. I've been told many times. When I wrote this I naively assumed that my state wasn't the only one that did this. But I'm not gonna delete it cause I got 6k karma and for some reason I like fake internet points. And take that mask off. Are you saying I stink? Same thing happened to me. The Uber driver said, do you wear your seatbelt when you're with your dad? I said, yes. What a stupid question, LMAO. First of all, your dad could be an awful driver. But even if he's the most amazing driver in the world, you can't do crap when someone T-bones you. With no time to react. Also, you're not my dad. Quote. I don't know. He died in a tragic car accident when I was 5 and all my seatbelt memories are repressed. What of it? Quote. I will use this, cause lots of my Uber drivers tell me I'm the first person who uses a seatbelt, or I'm a good driver. I won't cause an accident. Got fed up with telling them that they're not the only driver on the streets that I'm worried about. Edit. In Eastern Europe this is highly common. Also in my experience the Venn diagram of good drivers and Ubers resembles Harry Potter's glasses. Any taxi-like conveyance, really. As a paramedic, the one thing I can absolutely rely on to occur while driving with my lights and sirens is most drivers will freak up. But taxi drivers, Uber, Lyft, etc. go above and beyond. They will not only violate the law, they'll perform several acts of vehicular nincompoopery that are so bizarre. There aren't laws against it, because the legislators while scribing the laws were unable to conceptualize that level of nonsense. Also, truckers, you guys are awesome. I don't care that you're mad out working on 3 logs. I have never seen such beautiful, immediate, and decisive action and reaction to my blinky rig. Maybe 22 years ago, I had a phone interview with a baking company. I didn't care to have my peers know what I was up to, so I took the call on my cell phone in my car. The call was crystal clear and no technical issues. At one point, they had mentioned the weather and asked how it was where I was. I told him that I was sitting in my car and I could see that it was actively snowing and whatnot. The interviewer asked me, are you taking this call on a cell phone? I told him I was. Then he asked me if I thought that was appropriate. I asked him what he meant by that. He said he thought it was kind of rude to take a formal call on a cell phone. I told him I would be more than happy to conclude the interview if talking on a cell phone was an issue. If he was interested, I'd be happy to continue it the next day when I'd be at a desk. He again repeated how rude he thought it was that I had called from a cell phone and that there was no need to continue the interview process. I disagreed with the first point but did agree with the second. To this day, I wonder what the hell he was talking about and where he was coming from. Probably just got over the fact that telephones exist, and wasn't ready to accept the fact that mobile phones aren't a thing made by the devil. Wonder if this guy is also out there now, convinced the 5G gives you the Rona. Is this how unusual mobile phones rank 98? Wow, way to stamp "I am an aging worker who refuses to keep up with technology" on his forehead. Only thing I can guess is the possibility of a dropped call. But like he said, it was completely clear. I think it's the idea that this person didn't set aside part of their day to go into their private telephone room in their home where they could take this call on a landline, and instead took this call on cell phone, between lines of cocaine and petty crimes. While working tech support back during the dot-com boom, I had a customer get upset with me over the use of the word icon. He said it had religious implications and he insisted I call Windows icons little picture things. I love this! Exclamation mark. I'm calling everything that now. You just reminded me of the time a woman yelled at me that she'd never buy a shirt that says Moab on it because in the Bible Moab was apparently a terrible, sinful place. I was in Moab, UT for anyone unfamiliar. I ended up just standing there blinking at her until she finally wandered away because one I couldn't figure out why she was even there then. 2. I had nothing to do with the store we were in. 3. Literally no one asked her if she wanted one. And 4. I wanted nothing to do with the interaction that was occurring. A year ago on vacation, we flew from Salt Lake City. While stopping for gas or food or something, there was a t-shirt shop next door selling these great tees with the following logo on the front. SLUTI LOD, and suggested my wife buy one. She didn't find it nearly as funny as I did. Oh my god, that's awesome. I want one. Off topic, but this reminds me of my 4-year-old niece who calls commercials skip ads. Editing to add that all these upvotes and awards have made my niece feel so special. She doesn't have any clue what 15,000 upvotes means, or what Reddit is, but she's running around in absolute delight that so many people think she's funny. I've been reading most of these comments to her. To be fair, every time they come up there's a label in the bottom right that says skip ads. What's it going to be other than a label? A button? That would be ridiculous. I got in trouble in kindergarten for saying the word dead. Apparently it was too violent. In the Pokemon card days of school, me and my bud were showing off how cool our cards were. I said something along the lines of, yeah, but mine has more heath, it won't die as quick. Got a letter home to my parents. My siblings are monitored on their phones for safety. Don't worry Reddit, I'm the one who controls it and I am sure it's not extreme or detrimental to them. My sister got an alert for violence. The culprit, a picture of mouthwash. I had a friend who had parental controls on his computer and it kicked in when he looked up a fingering chart for ban. This happens to me so much. Looking up a lot of fingering charts, huh? Yes, I am looking up a lot of fingering charts. As long as you're not fingering a minor you'll be fine. When I was a child, my mum paid for something with a check. The cashier remarked that my mum had nice handwriting. My mum flew off the handle, and we had to storm out of the shop in outrage. To this day, I have no idea what happened. Well, you've got great handwriting. I have a boyfriend. Maybe it brought up sore feelings from when she failed the doctor entrance exams. Please go write for some show. This is the best cutaway joke that never happened. You actually thought you could be a doctor with handwriting like this? Turns papers around to reveal perfect calligraphic writing. Edit. I'm gonna break from the norm and say frick you kind stranger. I will not be able to sleep tonight until I know what this is about. Seriously, Op needs to ask his mom now. So we get follow-up story of mom blowing up at their kid for asking about some penmanship episode from ages ago. WTF. You have nice handwriting. Wanna use my pen? IBK. I assume there was something more than just complimenting script. You're pretty good with your hands. Wanna try it out with my ink rod? You have great handwriting. Want to have intercourse? Had someone get offended by me calling my brother bro. They insisted that I was racist and that white people can't be related to Mexicans. Like seriously lady, that's not how genetics work. We are 100% related and are a mix of white and Native American. It's not that unheard of for one biological sibling to come out lighter or darker than the other. And even if we weren't related, seriously, I'm racist for calling someone close to me my bro despite being different skin tones. Seriously, thank you for coming to my rant session. Have a good day. I've never heard of bro being racist. My sister and I have Brazilian parents, but our skin tones are hilariously different. There's me, who's stayed a pale ghosty white, despite actually being able to tan if I tried long enough, bordering on simple facial features and looks more like my dad's side of the family. But my sister has the tanned Hispanic look with Latina supermodel skin and looks more like our mom's side. If we stand next to each other, people wonder how we're related to someone else. Basically, I'm white, and she's Mexican. I had someone scoff and ask me how I, a white person, have a Latina cousin. It's like they don't realize two people of different races can have kids together. My sister and I look about as much alike as Thor and Loki. Same parents. We just scored really different genes. Teachers didn't believe us when we told them we were sisters. Genetics are weird sometimes, sorry. But Loki was adopted. Genetics are weird sometimes. My sisters have brown eyes, but my eyes are green. They're small or they're tall, but I'm all in between. They're long and They're blonde while I'm bobbed and brunette. They're beauties and cuties and angels, and yet, my sisters are somewhat distinctive to me. They're another. They're varied to seek to spy us together. You'd say we're bizarre, but that doesn't matter. It's just how we are. At my wedding we marked the vegetarian items as vegetarian. This made the one vegetarian at my wedding, sister-in-law who hates me, fly into a catatonic rage because we are singling out the vegetarian food as vegetarian and not treating it as normal food. Then how the frick are they supposed to know it's vegetarian? Would she have felt better if everything else was marked as non-vegetarian? And it's pretty poor form to fly into a rage at somebody's wedding. It's supposed to be a special day for the couple, not for her. Don't worry, I will tell them. Yikes. That's a ridiculous thing to blow up at someone about, and she doesn't even make sense. It's definitely easier when the food is labeled as vegetarian, vegan, etc. So you don't have to ask. I hope you don't have to deal with that particular sister-in-law as much since your wedding. Edit. Spelling. So you don't have to ask. See, this is where you went wrong. They want to be able to ask so then everybody knows they're vegetarian. They want to be able to keep asking people if it's vegetarian and that they can only eat it if it's vegetarian. She looked at it sadly and softly she sighed. I'll just have to do it, she whispered and cried. She looked at the cheese with a shake of her head. ... And now I shall have to be vegan, she said. A sandwich. I kid you not. My ex-husband was given a sandwich by our then 13-year-old daughter, and because she cut the sandwich, he went off on a massive strop about how his sandwiches should never be cut, etc. The poor kid's face. She was crushed. It still winds me up no end every time I think about it. What an butthole thing to do to your kid. That sucks. My youngest isn't allowed to use sharp knives, so when he made me a sandwich, he tore it in half. It was still a great sandwich. That made me actually laugh out loud. Thanks. The image of a kid just making a nice neat sandwich and then ripping it in half is hilarious. I can't believe things didn't work out between you two. He seems lovely. I laughed out loud at this comment. Thank you for that. Wow, I thought my soon-to-be ex-husband was the only a-hole who did this. When we first moved in together, it was my job to make his lunches. I made him a sandwich and cut it in half, and he flipped on me that he wasn't a child, and his co-workers would make fun of him. Like seriously, it's a sandwich. They should make fun of a man who can't even make his own lunch and assigns it to his wife as a job. Quote. That's probably what he was actually embarrassed about. You're assuming he had self-awareness. The guy who got offended in a council meeting because someone used the term black hole. Edit. Found a video. That was John Wiley Price, a long-time Dallas City Council member. If I remember correctly, they were asking him why all the paperwork in his department kept disappearing. So he starts throwing a fit about why does everything bad have to be black? Like black sheep, devil's food cake, etc. And of course he never did answer where all the paperwork was going. Deflection at its best. My friends told me about a school board meeting they attended virtually on how return to school was going to work. Someone got offended at the use of the term guinea pig, claiming it was racist. That was a new one to me. I'm offended by it, but then again I'm from Papua New Italian. Time to tear down the statues of Stephen Hawking. I didn't know there were any statues of Stephen Hawking still standing. I'm glad I scrolled this far. I was at the vet with my cat and he sneezed. This was apparently very offensive to an elder woman. She was there with a corgi, and she started screaming at me for about 30 minutes about pet hygiene. Sorry, I've been trying to teach him to sneeze into his hanky, but you know how cats are. I'm sure her dog has done a lot worse in public. Man, talk about reaching. Vaccinating. Thanks for watching LWIAR. The best of recent r/AskReddit submissions and comments. If you like this video, check out LWIAR too. And don't forget to like and subscribe.